Hey everybody, thank you all for being here. Happy holidays once again to each and every one of you. And I hope my sound is working. Well, somebody will tell me if it's not. But there we are. Looks like it is working. Great. Again, thank you all for making the time to be here. I started this channel in 2021. 2020, 2021 were great years compared to what we've just been through. But back in December 2021, I made a prediction video, 35 predictions for 2022. And they're generally broad in nature, but boy, what a brutal year it was. But it's important as well to reflect on where we've come from, what we can learn from that as we go forward. So I spent a lot of time analyzing the past, analyzing mistakes, analyzing what I did right, so we can sharpen our tools for next year. And again, many cool people once said that it's important not to be right or wrong, but to be at least right more of the time when at all possible. And a lot of things about investing is, I always say, investing is a blood sport. And 2022 is the worst year on record, going back at least 50 plus years. But again, think of investing as time series, playing where the puck is going to be, placing your bets and not changing your strategy midstream. That can be very, very dangerous. So you don't need it. This is always edutainment. You guys know the channel by now. And this was kind of the video outlook for 2022. And a reminder, everybody, I'm going to blow this up because nobody has a crystal ball. 2022, as we discovered, was one big house of cards. Nobody had any idea after DeFi summer 2020, 2021, how incestuous, how interrelated, how margin and leverage were stacked upon stacked, how people were hiding balls, people were dishonest, people lied to our faces. We saw what happened with, all the stuff that blew up, BlockFi, Celsius, etc. UST wiped out $50 billion in value. 3 Arrows Capital were exposed to that. And they fraudulently stated they had more assets than they had. And then 3AC defaulted on its loans, and they weren't able to pay CFI lenders, which brought down a ton of other companies. Then, of course, at the same time, Alameda Research was believed to have become insolvent. It took funds from FTX users without them realizing. And then as FTX users began withdrawing funds, boom, $8 billion in losses. Crazy, crazy year. And not only that, the macro backdrop was terrible. The Fed has taken us into financial Armageddon, etc., etc. But let's go back to these predictions, go through each one of them, and see exactly how they stood up. And I score myself hard, but if anything you think I didn't score myself the right way, let me know below in the comments. So first of all, I had a feeling that the name cryptocurrency would change to digital assets, and it did not happen. It sort of happened in some places, but people still call it crypto. And I believe the term cryptocurrency is a bad moniker for this asset class because it doesn't reflect what it is at all, by no stretch. So will it ever change? I don't know. It's hard to change a name. So that was the first thing. Wrong. Second one, I believed, that the Bitcoin market would top out in March to June 2022. Boom, I was wrong. November 2021 was the top. And in hindsight, it all looked very clear how that happened. But part of my mistake was becoming sucked in by all the hype from everybody out there saying 100K and 200K and way more. And, it just seemed there was so much positive momentum and it didn't happen. But now we've got tools to be able to identify when tops and bottoms happen. And the bottoms have been banging along the bottom for a long time. One of the worst bear markets ever in crypto and other things. So wrong again, too wrong. Third one, I had a feeling, a hope, and hope is not a strategy, everybody, that GBTC would convert to a spot ETF by June 2022. Nope, another miss. And this is related to my little intro because I believe the SEC did not grant an ETF to Grayscale because they were aware of the whole ARB trade that was running behind the scenes, which brought down much of the cryptoverse. All the DCGs, the 3ACs, etc. What is it with C's and A's and G's? Anyway, all of these ARB traders had this big risk on bet for a long time. And I guess maybe in Gary Gensler and the SEC's mind, not that they're great because Gary is in bed with you know who. Anyway, enough of that. But why give the arbitrators a free pass by converting it? Let them sweat, let them suffer. And that could have been the strategy. So 3, wrong. 4th, I believed more treasuries would hold Bitcoin. We did see Michael Saylor buy a lot more Bitcoin, but we also, and these are the same slides as a year ago, so nothing has changed. I thought a lot more treasuries would jump in, particularly as the price went down. They haven't. Even with the accounting law, to be able to change it to market of the assets, not hold the loss on the balance sheet. That has all changed. It still hasn't changed anything with how treasuries are coming on board. In fact, as well, Tesla sold 90% of their Bitcoin at $30,000, which is probably the price they bought it at. So it was a wash. But anyway, that was a mistake. So here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4 wrong so far. Now, go on right so far. So this is number 5. I believe Bitcoin dominance would hover around 35 to 48%. It ended up being 39 to 49%. It's almost bang on, or pretty good, despite the nasty bear market. Many people believed as the crypto market would tank, people would flee to safety into Bitcoin. I didn't believe that. I thought layer ones were now able to stand on their feet and show true value. And here we are. So speaking of crypto as well, crypto bifurcation. I believe there will be winners and 95% will be losers. Now I've upped that to 98%. Devout armies and users will give up ghosts and move on to protocols that yield value. So it's hard to say if this is right or wrong, but people are getting a lot smarter right now in how they invest and how they look at data, which is good. 3,000 crypto names that launched in 2021 died in 2022. So the bifurcation is beginning, and that's a lot of names. And there's still a lot of ghost chains out there hoping. But again, as we know, hope is not a strategy. But remember, 98% will not make it over time. So that was good. 3rd, a lot of people thought ETH 2.0 would be finished in 2022. I didn't. I didn't think it wouldn't be fully upgraded to 2023. And that's what happened. Now, they were very successful in launching the Beacon chain and the merge to proof of stake. That worked. But shard chains are still coming, hopefully in 2023, which will help fix a lot of the problems. So Ethereum is far from fixed. That's why there's so many layer 2s running on top of it to make it do the stuff it needs to do. So that's 3 for 3. And let's talk about this one. It's interesting. I also expected layer 2s like MATIC would process more transactions than Ethereum. Well, lo and behold, they do, and an awful lot more. So that was good. And that shows you kind of the value of layer 2s. They're not all as nicely structured as I would like from a centralization and tokenomics perspective. But again, they are very, very popular. And some of them are striking up the most amazing partnerships like MATIC. This one is interesting. The first one where it's half right. I believe cryptocurrencies or layer 1s needed to really shift gears and get a lot faster. 50,000 was not enough to cut it. I was always looking for that 1 million TPS. And I was hoping as well that Solana would come out of beta. It didn't. So that's where it's wrong. But in terms of speed, moving from 50K to 100K, I thought was possible. Well, they hit 1.2 million at a conference in November 22. So that's kind of a half a point there. In addition, I did say as well, diminishing returns were the name of the game. Parabolic times are over. So don't expect the crazy 3,000, 5,000% returns. They are gone, done and dusted. And diminishing returns is the name of the game from here. So that's kind of right. In addition, this is kind of a funny one. And I shouldn't say funny. It's a very serious one. But I did say a hitCoin casino would collapse. I wasn't sure which one. I didn't know if it would be a KuCoin or something like that. I thought Coinbase was relatively safe. I knew one was going to hit the wall. Did not know which one. But it was one of the big ones. And we all know what happened there. The emperor has no clothes. So another checkbox. In addition, I did say inflation would continue. And inflation was the name of the game. And it is still hitting hard all around the world in 2022. And this has been a big problem with the whole macro environment and central banks raising interest rates, spinning economies into recession. And we will see that recession in 2023. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's bad. The question is, how shallow will it be and how quickly will they reverse? Watch that space carefully. I also said Turkish Lira would implode and others would follow. Yep, well, the Turkish Lira fell 80% against the dollar in 2022, and other currencies like the Sri Lankan rupee, Nigerian naira, all got hit hard, and they were kind of some of the others. Even big established currencies like the British pound had a very, very bumpy summer, hitting parity with the US dollar not too long ago, but it's then since rebounded. And this next one, number 15, another El Salvador will land. I was hoping for something big like Brazil, Paraguay, Panama, Argentina, Venezuela, Malta, Mexico. But instead we got CAR, which is the Central African Republic. Very, very small country. But again, it steps in the right direction. And in addition, just I think yesterday, the Brazilian president signed Crypto Payments Bill into law, which is huge for the space. Massive country. And now that will really help adopt a lot of adoption and development to really help with payments and accelerate payments, because there's still a lot of problems in that realm. Next, the arms race was going to be on for countries to deploy central bank digital currencies. And I also believe that this would drive demand for Bitcoin and other cryptos as a store of value. And here we are. The race certainly was on. We had the sand dollar was introduced by the Central Bank of the Bahamas. Bahamas, again, infamous. Nigeria became the first country in Africa to launch a central bank digital currency. Eastern Caribbean Currency Union was there too. Sweden was playing with something. China, we all know about that control currency. Jamaica, Ukraine, India, Russia. Whew. The arms race is absolutely intense. Also, the European Union and the dollar are dabbling and testing stuff as well in different pilots around the world. And what's really bad about central bank currencies is this. The digital yuan has been forced upon the populace in China so they can control the people better. They can control exactly what you spend money on, monitor what you spend money on, make your money disappear and vanish if you don't spend it in time, and prevent you from buying a ticket on a train if you don't have a certain type of passport that you need to have. So it is kind of terrifying, but it's actually a good thing that the world can see exactly what's happening on the ground in China. And it'll help those people in those countries hopefully be able to vote against central bank Orwellian spy coins as we go forward. Now, next one I was wrong. It was a bit of a stretch, but I thought maybe crypto would hit 1 billion people in terms of users and adoption. We only hit about 320 million last time I counted. And related to that, which is kind of wrong, I did say there would be a huge hunger for crypto. We did 3x in a year, which is good, but we didn't hit the billion people, which is bad. But we will in time. But just look at the growth rate from January 2020, from December 2021 to basically today. You can see the growth is exploding. So that's 3x in just a year. Can it 3x again, hit billion next year? Very possible. But again, more value needs to be brought to cryptos. Easier adoption, better wallets, more cross-chain activities, etc. But just imagine the impact of Brazil on crypto with their payments law now as well. Next one in the box is Lummis Bill. I believed it would castrate Gensler and Yellen through proper crypto regulation. But no, that didn't happen. Yes, Cynthia Lummis put together a great bill, but of course, the problem with our regulators is it's so hard for them to understand and wrap their heads around this whole space. And nothing really happened so far. Then I also thought stablecoins would get regulated. And this is from Lynn Alden. And that would happen. But nope. The US regulators, again, still have to try to figure out what they will do. But I do believe stablecoins will be regulated first, probably in 2023, and then the rest down the line as we go forward. Next one, Tether Timebomb. Everybody expected this to explode. We had other time bombs instead, so that didn't happen. There's still a lot of smoke and FUD around Tether, especially of late what happened with the relationship between Tether and FTX. Who knows where all this will go? But again, where there's smoke, there's fire. So be careful, everybody. Maybe it's all going to be fine. I know Tether made huge steps over the last 6 months to basically have much more treasuries backing their stablecoin. Now, this is another half score. This is the block square TBDX. What was interesting about this was they did unveil a plan to become not only a top Bitcoin player through both mining at home and more, but also go after TradFi, try get a piece of all the traditional banking fees and disrupt payment rails. That hasn't launched yet. They are still working behind the scenes, but it didn't hit maybe next year. In addition, financial services I thought would get eaten in part by DeFi. Not really. Bit of a move towards more decentralized exchanges, DEXs per se, and a lot of activities happening, a lot more payments. But instead, what is happening is a huge movement of TradFi into crypto. Fidelity, BlackRock, Visa, all making huge steps, huge inroads. So I thought they would get eaten, but instead of getting eaten, the TradFi companies are jumping on the crypto bandwagon, which is good. So I gave myself a little half a score for that. In addition, I did say NFTs will no longer be as explosive and they could fizzle out. Well, boy, did they fizzle out. Justin Bieber, for example, he bought a Bored Ape NFT in January 2022 for about $1.35 million. Today, it's worth less than $70,000. So that's how things work, but not isolated to just NFTs. A lot of tokens are down that much as well. In addition, I felt the Facebook Metaverse would flop, and I got that right. The AR glasses, etc., the whole rebranding was a disaster. Stock tanked, and actually I did end up buying Meta because it was so cheap back in November. Again, sometimes things that you wouldn't actually invest in become so cheap you can't deny them. And that's what happened there. My only regret is not shorting it all the way down. Boom. Next, inflation with Cathie and disruption. This turned out not to work. She felt in 2022 truly innovative companies would be rewarded handsomely, and they were not. They were crushed. Speaking on one of those, Tesla, a big holding of mine, I felt FSD would come a long way. And this is kind of halfway. I'm an FSD beta user. I never thought it would drive me around, but boy, has it improved. Has it gotten a lot smarter, doing a whole bunch of different things. And I see the development every single day. I read the release notes. So it is, again, a big leap forward. It has advanced in leaps and bounds. Is it ready for prime time? No. But wide distribution, wide beta usage has enabled Tesla vehicles to drive autonomously, especially on things like freeways, very successfully. And the focus of this is safety first, not necessarily doing the whole full self-driving thing, but making sure the passengers are safe. And that's why it takes time. And again, driving is tricky business. In addition, genomic revolution, I thought it would be in our back pockets, but I think maybe much of this was delayed due to other distractions like C19. But I felt the genomic revolution would be kind of in our pockets. There'd be some new advances, but there were some advances, but not necessarily in stock prices at all. That whole space continued to tank. In addition, I said C19 would be categorized as a cold. This era we've just been through has shown us declining trust in public institutions. And now we see here, even though it's still there is now a situation where people no longer get tested. They don't know the difference between flu, cold, C19, RSV, whatever the case may be. And even China threw in the towel against their zero COVID policies. So again, I give myself kind of a half score there. C19 has not gone away. It is still very serious, but so are other things too. And then the real impact of C19 lockdowns was calculated. Got this right too, and this was a big concern of mine. But now people know the impact of kids' IQs dropping by 20 points, suicide, alcoholism, depression, obesity, people not getting their cancer screenings, not getting their medical checks, not getting their treatments. And that has taken the, I can't remember the term, survival rate of humans in the United States back to 1997 levels. Okay? So it's definitely, there is an impact. People are measuring it now better than ever before. And I think lockdowns will be a thing of the past. It's never going to happen again. Next, which is related to that as well, trust in media will fall. I felt America's trust in media would fall, trust would wane, etc. Folks will move to other places to get the truth. And that has happened. The usage of Twitter in 2022 has gone up by 60%. The viewership of things like CNN, etc., have tanked because people don't trust the media anymore. And related to that too, you know, everything's kind of related, trust in government fails. Yes, and the latest statistics here, you can see from this little chart I added to my original slide, you can see that much of it probably led by the C19 missteps. The score fell from 22 to 20, which means basically that only 2 in 10 Americans say they trust the government in Washington to do what is right. Just about always. That's 2% of the population. And most of the time, 19%. But trust in the government has declined, where the combination of those two is now just 20%, down from 21%. Not a huge fall, but again, those hardened government trusters, they will never wane. Next one, I did say Ukraine would probably be invaded by Russia with the movements and information that I saw, and there was a potential for China-Taiwan war. Much less likely, but the Ukraine one was correct. I moved into cash position at the end of 2021 in preparation for this, and I deployed in the market at the invasion, which was a bottom, but not the real bottom. Problem. So next in the box is higher education will be disrupted by internet and access, and universities would suffer. So not as much as I had imagined, but pretty high. The total undergraduate enrollment in the United States colleges fell by 1.1% in 2022. That is a big change, annualized. And in summary, everybody, scorecard, 20 were right, 10 were wrong, 5 middle of the road. So that's it. I hope you like this. I will be doing my 2023 predictions with a lot more rigor, and hopefully we can get a better score. So with that, everybody, happy holidays. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to the mods in the chat, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.